Hi, I'm Randall Dunn, thriller writer. I write action thrillers that read like blockbuster movies, and I'm going to be reading to you an opening chapter from my book High Adventure, The Solomon Ring of Kilimanjaro. It's sort of a cross between Indiana Jones and the film It's a Wonderful Life. It's about Jack Benjamin, who is a flyer. His goal is to fly his plane around the world and see the world. But he is a missionary by default in Africa during the First World War. His parents were missionaries, and when they passed away and the First World War broke out, then everyone joined the war effort, leaving no one to take care of the Kikuyu mission that his parents had initiated. So Jack felt he needed to stay behind to watch over the Africans while everyone else was away at the war. At the same time, he really wants to marry Amanda Regent, who he's proposed to several times, and Amanda really wants to marry him, but she's not sure that she wants to marry into flying a biplane around the world, and she's certainly not certain about marrying into Africa in case the war doesn't end and they end up being stranded there forever, which kind of seems like the way things are going at this point of the war. Along the way, they get into a lot of misadventures. There's a lot of intense action, there's humor, and it's just a lot of fun. So I'm going to read this story to you, this chapter, and you can get an idea of what it's like and see if it's something that you'd want to look into a little bit more. You can find it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and other online booksellers. So this is opening chapter for High Adventure, Solomon Ring of Kilimanjaro, March 1916, British East Africa. Chapter 1, Out on a Limb. Jack! Jack! Jack Benjamin squinted through the brown clump of hair hanging over his right eye. Below him, Amanda's long ruffled skirt swirled around her heels, dangling over the excited lion 30 feet below. Jack gritted his teeth as she hung from his bruised right arm, wishing she weighed 60 pounds less. Still here. Hang on, love. It's pacing, she cried, following the animal's movement. Her straw blonde hair spun about her neck like a panicked toy top. It's licking its lips. Lions do that. He hated to waste energy by answering back, but he couldn't ignore her rising British lilt. The thorny gray branch creaked under the combined weight as Jack's left hand strained to reach Amanda's wrist. His 200 pounds and her just a hair over 100, which felt more like 120 to Jack, were too much to ask of the old acacia tree. Amanda's hand trembled in his. I shall say it again. Coming to Africa was a bad idea. Noted. Jack ground his teeth and firmed up his hold. Thorns cut into the thighs of his tan trousers. I need your arm. Can you help? Yes, of course. How? Her golden hair flipped back from pleading eyes as she worked to close the skirt around her legs. How am I to help? Help me to help! Find something to hoist yourself up. And never mind your modesty. He wants to eat you, not court you. She fidgeted in his grip. You've no idea how difficult it is to wear dresses here, tripping over folds of fabric every time you run somewhere. Right, I don't know. He leaned further out and firmed up his grip on her slender wrist as the mess of hair fell over his eyes again. The lion seemed to notice his struggle and stopped his pacing. Don't yell at me. Don't wiggle about. You're not the one being eaten. No one's being eaten. Just... A low, creaking moan rose from the base of the limb. They fell silent, awaiting further warnings. A tiny snap of the wood sent a fresh trickle of sweat sliding down Jack's cheek. It clung to the bottom of his square jaw, while the lion continued to watch and wait. I need your hand. He had to make her relax in his grip and build back his strength. Revealing his fatigue would only panic her more. Scores of unseen guinea fowl hooted from the surrounding trees, their cack-cack-cack-cacks sounding like a slow-starting motor car. Think, Jack, think. If he was seated in his Avro 504 biplane, he would know exactly what to do and how to do it. If Amanda was dangling alongside his cockpit, he could roll the plane in the opposite direction with one hand, letting gravity drop her into his lap. Or he could pitch forward slightly to help her climb onto the wing and up into the front seat. But here, in the dense African bush, he could only grit his teeth. Amanda's free hand stretched toward his. Thank the Lord she had settled some. Straddling the branch tightly with his thighs, Jack leaned forward. Amanda's doe-like eyes searched his with renewed hope as he reached for her delicate, grasping fingers. The branch cracked like a gunshot. Amanda's shriek scattered a flock of guinea fowl from nearby trees as the limb bent. Jack swallowed a chunk of air as they slid a few inches down. He hugged the trembling branch as it scraped into his chest. The shifting settled, and Jack listened for further signs of cracking over Amanda's panic and the lion's impatient growls. "Quiet, love, it's all right." "You're squeezing too tight, let go." "Sorry, can't let go just yet, of course." Her eyes blazed up at him like fiery blue diamonds. "I'm quite sure you know what I meant." Jack flexed his thighs to lock his legs on the rough bark as the thorns dug in deeper. Relieved of some pressure, he curled his left arm further around the branch and seized Amanda's wrist, securing her with both hands. He sighed deeply as life returned to his right arm. "Jack," Amanda called, almost giddy, "I've found a spotty gray vine." Jack's stomach went hollow. He raised his head, and all became clear. The arching snake fixed a cold stare on him from 3 feet away. It lifted its chin imperiously, as if offended by the disturbance in its temporary tree home. Jack had seen poisonous puff adders like this one in swamps and on the grass roofs of huts here in Nyura. It was a young male, distinguished by the peacock's eye design on its silvery skin. Simply put, it was gray and spotty. A gentle breeze tickled Jack's neck, reminding him to breathe. He did so in a slow, even rhythm, quieting every nerve as the serpent's black eyes bulged and waited for him to explain his business there. Amanda swung merrily from his locked arms as he prepared to transfer her hair over 100 pounds back to the aching right hand. Jack prayed for the Lord to help him switch hands without tensing his neck too much, and to do it fast enough to deal with the snake before any fresh sweat rolled off his forehead. If a salty drop trickled out from behind Jack's matted clump of hair, the adder would surely take a lick. "Almost got it!" Amanda sounded like a child playing on a swing set. Jack's anguished thighs gripped the branch tighter. Amanda wouldn't be so proud when she yanked the adder's tail and it sank its fangs into his nose, or when they all fell to the hard ground, effectively setting the lion's dinner table. Jack relaxed his face and neck as he tensed his right arm. His biceps flared in protest as he smoothly shifted Amanda's weight over to free his left hand. Jack relaxed his face and neck as he tensed his right arm. His biceps flared in protest as he smoothly shifted Amanda's weight over to free his left arm. Jack relaxed his face and neck as he tensed his right arm. His biceps flared in protest as he smoothly shifted Amanda's weight over to free his left hand. If he had flinched, the snake ignored it. Jack relaxed his face and neck as he tensed his right arm. His biceps flared in protest as he smoothly shifted Amanda's weight over to free his left hand. If he had flinched, the snake ignored it. Locking Jack in its icy gaze, it took no notice as Jack's free hand drew quietly up alongside the branch. No notice as it slid slowly, gingerly, toward Jack's hip. "Almost, almost," Amanda sang beneath him. Her swinging weight produced a definite film of sweat on Jack's forehead. It would stream into the snake's view any second. With 2 barely audible pops, Jack unsnapped the sheath strapped to his leg. Beneath the serpent's bottomless eyes, its throat bulged in and out like a bullfrog's. Jack relaxed his face and neck as he tensed his right arm. His biceps flared in protest as he smoothly shifted Amanda's weight over to free his left hand. If he had flinched, the snake ignored it. Locking Jack in its icy gaze, it took no notice as Jack's free hand drew quietly up alongside the branch. No notice as it slid slowly, gingerly toward Jack's hip. "Almost, almost," Amanda sang beneath him. Her swinging weight produced a definite film of sweat on Jack's forehead. It would stream into the snake's view any second. With 2 barely audible pops, Jack unsnapped the sheath strapped to his leg. Beneath the serpent's bottomless eyes, its throat bulged in and out like a bullfrog's. Jack slid the 16-inch curved panga from its compartment as if he had all the time in the world. "Got it!" Amanda cried. The snake darted for Jack's eyes quicker than Jack could think. Jack had already rolled the machete about in his fist to hack at the adder's lunging neck. His single strike chopped through the skin and between the vertebrae. Amanda's shifting weight tugged Jack to the right, and the adder's severed head sailed past him, its venomous jaws locked open. "Jack! Jack, it's not a vine! It's a... Amanda's skirt spun in a frenzy as she gripped the adder's tail, its other end spiraling above the lion's head and scattering its blood like a water hose. "I know, it's a headless snake!" she screamed, dropping the spineless, bleeding carcass. "Ew, ew, ew!" Jack's shoulder wrenched as Amanda spun about in horror. The hopeful lion padded over to the snake, but quickly dismissed it and returned its gaze to the frantic legs dangling overhead. "Where would a creature like that come from?" Amanda yammered. "What kind of jungle is this?" "Just hang on. Haven't I been? Eep!" The groaning limb pitched them another few inches, like a grandfather weary of the rambunctious children playing on his lap. They hung there, gasping as the lion's grunts followed after them. Jack struggled for her wrist again, but couldn't stretch far enough. "Amanda, take my hand." "I have your hand, or the lion would be eating." "Your other hand." She stretched toward him. "I can't reach," she cried, her voice rising in panic. She twisted about wildly, her dress attracting the lion like a bullfighter's cloak. "Try, stretch." "I am," she gasped, her cheeks reddening. Hanging by one arm had also taken its toll on her. She couldn't raise her other arm enough to meet Jack's grasping fingers. She clawed the air frantically as the anxious lion sat higher. Still too far. "Try again," Jack urged in his gentlest tone. "A bit farther." She strained toward him, licking her lips to concentrate as the lion licked his. Jack and Amanda's fingertips still missed each other by half an inch. Her struggles dwindled. "I'm to be eaten by a lion." "No, you aren't. Come on, a bit more." 2 years of our lives here, wasted." "Nonsense. Just settle down and—" "We've never settled down," she sniffled. "No home, no children. Perhaps if I had—" Jack squeezed tighter as her grip loosened. "Amanda, don't let go. Trust me, I'll pull you up. Reach once more." His arm begged for a release that his mind refused to give it. If she could only stretch a little further, just half an inch. The lion stared like a marble statue, as if sensing that Jack's strength was nearly spent. They teetered forward on the branch again, and Jack's hand almost drew back to cover his left pocket. The protective reflex reminded him of his original plan for that afternoon. "Amanda, wait! I've something for you!" She didn't turn to see what he dug from his rear pocket. He might as well have presented it to the attentive lion. "Amanda, look! This is for you, love! Take it!" She turned toward him, confused by the little diamond ring pressed between his thumb and forefinger. Then she frowned. "Must we do this now?" He smiled as if the cracking bark wasn't chewing away his legs, as if her dangling weight did not feel like that of a pregnant elephant. "Amanda Ruth Regent, will you marry me?" Frantic tears curved around her large cheeks. "Do you intend to drop me if I say no?" "You're set on killing us both, aren't you, love?" Jack thought, as he maintained his agonized smile. "Take the ring." Her grip tightened again on his numbing fist. "Don't think I don't know what you're up to," she said, straining toward him. "Having me reach for your hand while I accept your ring. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone, so to speak." Her fingers brushed the diamond's edge. Sweat dripped through the curved ends of Jack's hair as he stretched his arm. The droplets fell past Amanda to disappear halfway down to the lion. "Just hold on to it for a bit, while you consider it." She screwed up her face as she clawed the air. "I have considered it. Must you make everything so difficult?" Letting herself swing freely, Amanda used her momentum to help stretch as the lion studied her repeated attempts. Jack felt as though his throbbing pulse might burst through his neck and forearm. The jungle fell silent, as if Amanda's struggle had enthralled every living creature. "Come on, don't let me drop this." Amanda bared her teeth, snarling like an enraged poodle. Her wrath might have been directed at Jack, his ring, the continent of Africa, or the shortness of her own arm. If she fell at that moment, she and the lion might have been evenly matched. "A bit further," he urged. "Almost, almost, yes!" Her slim fingers found and clutched the ring's protruding diamond. Jack pulled her up and rolled his meaty palm around her fingers for a better grip. She rose toward him by inches while Jack's entire torso shook, until she grabbed hold of the thorny limb and Jack adjusted his grip to take her by the elbows, then by her upper arms, then reaching her slim waist as she leaned her neck against his and rested with him in the tree. Amanda released an exhausted sigh and observed the disappointed lion from their safe perch. She stroked Jack's cheek with a grateful smile. "Well, aren't you clever?" He caressed her hand and smiled back into her hypnotic eyes with immense relief. The branch snapped. That's the first chapter of High Adventure, the Solomon Ring of Kilimanjaro. It's the first in a series, and there will be more coming along later. But I hope you've enjoyed this. As I say, if you're interested in checking it out, you can find it online at Amazon or Barnes & Noble. I'm Randall Dunn. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.